featured review time. And for that, we are talking Nobody 2. This was on Todd's most anticipated list of the summer. So, Todd, you're going first. Tell us about it and what you thought.
Okay, it's directed by Timo Tjahjanto. And looking at his stuff, I've never seen anything from him, but this looks like his first movie he's done that wasn't in Indonesia. I love the first Nobody. It was my number 22 of 2021. So yes, I was really looking forward to this. Hutch Mansell is back. That's Bob Odenkirk. And after the first one where he, dusts off his long dormant assassin skills, we pick up with him. He's still working jobs on the side, trying to pay this debt off for, I don't know, burning some Russian money or something. And he's getting a little tired because he's old. And so he decides he's going to take a family vacation to somewhere he went as a child called Plummerville. It has like a water park, an arcade, and this seedy
Oldest
underbelly.
Water park in the world.
Sharon Stone plays Lindina, who is the leader of this massive criminal operation run around this town. Colin Hanks plays the sheriff that is working under her umbrella. John Ortiz is the owner of the theme park, and he is part of the operation, sort of. Returning cast members, you have Connie Nielsen's back as Hutch's wife, Becca, who gets some pretty great moments. The children are Gage, Monroe, and Paisley Catarath. Riza is back as the adopted brother, and Christopher Lloyd, of course, is still kicking it as Hutch's father. The first one was like an amazing time at the movies. Like the shine came off a little bit with this one because you already know that Hutch can do these insane things. But it works still because the character is like really well written and the action sequences are still top notch. The fight choreography is amazing. It doesn't really look fake somehow, even though he couldn't have been doing all that stuff. It looks like it. If it was actually in the John Wick universe or something, I can't wait for that collaboration. It would be so cool. But this one, there's some creative uses of weapons. Like it reminded me of Shoot 'em Up in a way or something like that, but it's not as silly as that. Something about this franchise that makes me think it's like a throwback of some kind. This one reminded me of like The Retirement Plan or something like that. Like a movie that could have been made 20 years ago and just has updated technology or something like that. Odenkirk is a stud. Like, I mean, you would never think action star by looking at him, but his voice and his look makes it work. Like, he is really good in this role. This is like a role I feel like he was born to play. Sharon Stone absolutely chews up the scenery here. It reminded me of Demi Moore in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, but not as playful. Like, she's like ruthless and kind of terrifying in this, and like, welcome back. I don't remember the last time I saw you in anything, but she's awesome in this. And making movies this short is an interesting concept. Like the first one, this one's like right around 90 minutes, but it still packs a whole bunch of shit into it. Like, you don't need 160 minutes to make an action movie like every other one that comes out now. The last third doesn't disappoint. Riza once again just kills it. When he pops up, the movie goes to another level. His fight sequence was amazing. The soundtrack is hilarious. I dig this franchise. I'm at 3 stars.
3 stars from Todd. Zach, where are you?
Okay, so my experience with Nobody was very different, as we might remember. Nobody was one of the first movies I remember seeing in the theater during or after the pandemic. And looking at the website, you guys loved it. I gave it 1 star. I should have listened to my review of it this week because I wanted to kind of rehash why I didn't like it so much. And I didn't listen to it, but I think what I didn't like about it was I thought it glorified violence. And I'm not that I'm a moralist or anything, but I just thought like you had this decent story and then it just got sidetracked by this like really fetishistic obsession with over the top John Wick style action sequences. And I remember it kind of mutilated what could have been a cool bus sequence. And I'm very sensitive to bus sequences, as we know. It's really hilarious. I can't believe the odds on this, that Todd mentions Charlie's Angels 2, because I also had a Charlie's Angels 2 reference in my review. Have we ever even referenced that movie on this show? The reason I'm going to reference Charlie's Angels 2 is the way I feel about Charlie's Angels 2 is Ebert gave the first Charlie's Angels 1 star. He gave the second one 2.5 stars. And he says he didn't understand why he hated the first one. It's kind of the way I feel about Nobody 2. I don't really understand why I hated it so much. Todd's right about a lot of his points. There is a lot of charm in this movie. I don't know. I must have been having a bad day, bad week. Maybe it was pandemic fever. But this movie is fun. I mean, I think if I were to try to isolate what makes this movie a little more fun, I do think there are a few more heartfelt scenes in this movie with Bob Odenkirk and his family. I like that his family, I think, is a little bit more involved. I felt like maybe in the last movie they were a little bit more thankless. I think they actually have a little bit more to do in this movie, Connie Nielsen in particular. And I like that they bring in Christopher Lloyd in some funny ways in this movie too. This movie feels like it's actually less action sequences than the first one, but the quality of them is better overall. And I'm also watching this movie, and Todd mentioned that he was reminded of what was the movie reminded of, Todd? The throwback
one. The Retirement Plan.
The Retirement Plan. The movie I thought of that was also sort of a throwback was the remake of Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I gave 3 stars. That was also a movie about a guy that, you look at him, you sort of underestimate him, but he's a pretty invincible fighter when he goes one-to-one combat on people. And that's the way Bob Odenkirk is in this movie. I mean, if you're foolish enough to get on a boat with Bob Odenkirk and really think that you have a chance, then you just don't know what you're in for. Sharon Stone, yeah, she has a lot of fun. Although I will have to say I'm getting really tired of the villains that have dance sequences. That is a cliche that seems to be innumerable in movies like this. I love that this movie was like 82 minutes. That was tremendous. I can't quite get to 3 stars with it. I want to. It's just that the action sequences, I don't know why these movies have to be so gruesome and gory and why they have to focus so much on the excessiveness of it. Like, to me, what makes Bob Odenkirk a cool character is that he's an everyday guy. And there is actually one sequence where it looks like he has some vulnerability. But gosh, to make him this like action hero who doesn't even really suffer any bruises or any sort of risk that he's ever going to seriously injure himself, I think undermines the weight of that character, what he otherwise could be. But I will have to say, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. It's breezy. It's fun. I do want to know why no one seemed to notice that he lost his pinky finger. That seemed like a discrepancy in the movie that I thought they were going to come back to, but they never did. Maybe they forgot to write it. I'm at 2.5 stars. I'm more sympathetic to this movie than I ever thought. It's fun. It's enjoyable. See it at 10 o'clock at night like I did. Yeah, it's fine.
We got 3 stars. We got 2.5 stars. I'm going 3 stars. I am kind of right in between you guys. Like I'm right on the line. I could go either way, but it was just too much fun to watch. So I'm giving it 3. Bob Odenkirk. Yeah. Him in this, it's kind of like, it's like if John McClane were a master assassin. That's how Hutch feels, because he's just like this tired average Joe, but then when you push him, he's gonna like snap and destroy every person within sight, which is great. Sharon Stone, like for most of the movie, I'm just looking at her, I'm like, who the hell are you and why the hell are you in this movie? And I didn't even, and then I'm like, I think that's Sharon Stone. And then when I found out it actually was, I'm like, of course it was. There was no reason that it needed to be Sharon Stone and she needed to do all the stuff that she was doing. Like I said, it's just too entertaining. It's too much fun. I wanted to watch the first one again because I didn't really remember much about the first one.
I rewatched it before it. It was only the second time I'd seen it.
Yeah, but it's so much fun. And I mean, shout out to taking a theme park and putting an R-rated military grade Home Alone booby trap all over the place like that. Like that was, I'm watching like they're Home Aloneing a theme park, but like with landmines. So, yeah. And Tommy guns, like this is ridiculous, but I loved it.
They do something kind of similar in the first one. They Home Alone, like the warehouse or whatever at the end, and you guys had mentioned that in our review of that. I remember that you said it was like Home Alone, but yeah, the last half hour of this is just ridiculous, and the margin of error they have in their plan is so small. like you're gonna need to be able to run across this entire way getting shot at and not killed in order to get the next part of the plan to go that way. It's awesome. I think in the first one they described Odenkirk said he was the auditor for one of the 3-letter organizations in the government or whatever, like the last person you want to see and the last person you will see or something. So they don't mention that here. They don't, like, you just have to remember what he is, because if you don't remember what he is, then you're just like oh, apparently this old guy is just kicks ass, which is fine too. But I think you kind of have to see the first one to know what's going on.
What I like also about this one is, I mean, the first one is the whole origin story. How does he become the nobody? And this is just, let's just tell another story with this character. We don't need to develop his character at all, right? We don't need to bring out new aspects of him, like the superhero movies. The sequel has to he has to have this crisis of faith. No, he's just going to continue to be him, just the latest adventure of Hutch, and that's what Nobody 2 is. And I almost like that better. We don't need to know how he became it. Just show us that he is.
Well, and one of the things I read about this movie is that originally, I guess the movie was supposed to be set on a trip to Rome. And Odenkirk, who I think is one of the producers of this movie, went in and said, no. This guy, Hutch, is not the kind of guy that would go to Rome. This is not a James Bond movie. This is a movie where he goes to the Wisconsin Dells, basically. And you can I like the location of this movie. That felt very real, like Midwest. And I like his rapport with John Ortiz in this movie. Again, I'm basically at 3 stars. The only thing I don't like really about this movie is, first of all, I like the scenes with his family more than the action sequences. So I don't know what that says. I think that you could have just maybe had a movie with just him trying to think of excuses to get out of family engagements. But I don't know. Give me something where he actually gets in an entanglement where his life is seriously jeopardized. I never for a second doubted that he would kick everyone's ass. And to see, Walter White got in some sticky situations there, and that made it kind of amusing. And then
he does need help in this one.
Well, I'll give you that. He does need a little bit of assistance in this one. That's why I liked it, I think, a little bit more. Like when you watch that bus sequence in the first one, it's like it is so unrealistic. But and then I guess I would just say I do think that the elevator sequence at the beginning of this movie is like, nah, not this shit again with stylized John Wick violence. I'm sorry, but give me something a little more real. And I think that's a testament to actually Bob Odenkirk. I think this guy he is a good actor, and he comes off as someone who you could conceivably see as that. So don't give me this sensationalized bullshit. But other than that, it is a fun movie, and I had a lot of fun watching it. I can't really say that this was that much worse than Roadhouse, which I gave thumbs up to, and I think they're kind of similar movies.
Well, what I like about it too is it's almost like Jackie Chan style of fighting, in that Hutch gets the crap kicked out of him every time he gets in a fight. He just doesn't fall down and always wins. That's the difference. Where like you talk about Roadhouse and Jake Gyllenhaal, and that Jake Gyllenhaal never gets touched. He is the master of every fight, and only what he allows to happen to him happens to him. Hutch is a brawler. And that's what makes it fun too.
I also like
this prime.
Yeah.
I like this movie's use of the song I Love You More Today Than Yesterday, which it uses twice quite liberally, including over the end credits. Nice song, 82 minutes, chef's kiss, beautiful. I love that. More people should listen to Nnamdi Asomugha and Bob Odenkirk when it comes to running length.
Yeah, I did a triple feature on Friday night, and I was not at the theater much longer than I would be for a double feature, because the longest movie was Americana at 1:47. Then it was 1:28 and 1:20. I'm like, I can do this. This is no problem. All right, so we've got
made $9.3 million at the box office, which is more than the first one. The first one was still probably post-pandemic stuff. It was like $6 million or something. So I mean, it is a better showing, but you would have thought this would have put a dent in the lead of Weapons and Freakier Friday, but I guess not.